God, I like the movies. Nintendo has really tried a lot of different interactive devices to go along with their games, but there has only been one that I was sidelined by. I remember checking out Nintendo Power magazine and seeing a brief mention of a game called Mario Paint. To be quite honest, I didn't think much of it. It wasn't until it became available at a local rental store that I gave it a try. I had assumed you'd be using a normal controller to play this game. So imagine my surprise when I was handed this. Like, what did I rent, a VIC-20? I guess you could say it's my own fault for not keeping up to date with the game, but this is actually a pleasant surprise. Even though the mouse isn't exactly precise, it's still better than using a controller. Mario Paint really was one of those anomalies in gaming where the lack of platforming, power-ups, and any resemblance of an actual game wasn't half bad. In fact, it was downright awesome. Mario Paint preyed on the creative juices of the player and gave you full access to watered-down, user-friendly versions of what programmers might see when developing certain aspects of a game. Even though only one player could play at a time, I can still remember gathering with a couple of my friends, taking turns creating things to show off to one another. It really was interesting to see everyone so enthralled with the game that even though the violence had taken a back seat for this one, the fun factor was still there at full force. So you don't kill anything? Nope. So you don't need me? Nope. Great. Guess I'll go watch Terminator 2 and touch my nether regions. I recall my first time playing not being able to figure out how to get it started, so while clicking everywhere I discovered the letters on the title each did something unique. For example, the T gives you a pencil to draw with, the O turns into a bomb, I love that, the M makes Mario shrink, and the A makes Yoshi run by like someone streaking at a football game. I don't have any pants, motherfucker! The weirdest one to me is the letter R. What the hell is that? I think it's saying I love you. If you keep following it and using the left click button, you can make it say it over and over again. I don't know, something about it just freaks me out. All of this might seem like a strange thing to cover in regards to Mario Paint, but it's really foreshadowing the type of goofy fun that you'll experience in the rest of the game. However, for information's sake, you just have to click Mario to get her started. As it starts up, you're greeted with what I always thought was a strange, out-of-place animation of someone doing sit-ups. Honestly, of all the things that could have been put here before you get to the main screen, I just find this weird. Maybe it's supposed to be an example of the animation you can make in Mario Paint, but you would just expect it to be Mario related rather than seeing two stick figures working out. For me, all it does is give me awful flashbacks of having to do sit-ups with a partner in gym class when I was back in high school. Dude, are you looking down my shorts? No? You better not be looking down my shorts, man. So, you want to be shower partners? Hey, Mr. Johnson, my partner won't stop looking at my balls. This is the bulk of what you'll see. What you put on the screen is up to you. At the top is a pretty large variety of colors and patterns that you can cycle through. At the bottom, you'll see several tools you can utilize for how you wish to get the patterns on paper. You have 3 different pencil sizes. The Mario face is basically a stamp maker of the image you choose, and of course you'll also get a tool that is basically a paint spray can. You also have the ability to make specific types of rings with ease, which I always love because the mouse is a rollerball mouse, so the precision for the most part sucks. And in some cases it even gets stuck, which can ruin the picture you're working on. This happens enough that I find myself smacking the mouse on the plastic pad just trying to get a reaction on screen. This isn't just a problem because of the game and the hardware's age. I say this because I remember having this issue in the early 90s too. Thankfully you have an undo button, but the major drawback is that you can only undo backwards once, so you better hope you've only made one mistake to fix. In addition to a standard eraser, you also have some pretty funny ways to erase your work. Now you also have a paintbrush that basically lets you fill in an area, which is great for using in the coloring book section. This part I never understood. You find the coloring book in the save and load section of the game. Why is it hidden here? It's as if they weren't proud of it, but I think it's awesome. So I treat it like it's the Danny Bonaducci of the game. Gonna make me a pink Mario. Why you busting my balls? One last thing I have to say about this paintbrush is just how it looks. Would it have killed them to put the legs at the bottom of the handle? You can claim my head is in the gutter, but when I played this in my early teens, and even now, I still think the same thing. This brush's completely out of proportion man junk would make Bob Ross smile. I can't even imagine trying to walk like this. The thought of the road rash that would come along with that is enough to make my quads tighten. And look at his moves! He's clearly proud of it, and he's showcasing it in every possible manner. It's so jarring when you're working on a piece of art knowing your paintbrush can pogo stick on its family jewels. One thing I've always had a lot of fun doing is making my own stamps through the stamp maker. As a kid, I always made a lightsaber to stamp in my pictures. It's actually amazing the amount of patterns you can do. It would seem you can do just about anything with it. Still to this day, you can find all kinds of patterns online. Even Nintendo Power would have occasional how-to patterns in specific issues. You also have the ability to make your own animations. For some, I think this might have seemed a little intimidating, and I certainly felt that way when I first played the game in the 90s. Using the Mario stamp really made it easier to understand just how it works, since you can easily make it appear as if Mario is walking. If you have the patience, you can do some really cool stuff with this. Now, I'd like to say I spent more time doing all these artistic things growing up, but the fact is I didn't. I actually spent majority of my time playing this fly swatting game, which lets you fly around smacking all kinds of bugs and bombs. I friggin' love this game. The animations are badass and funny. I can literally sit here for hours just smacking these things. I must say, just like the rest of the game, the music is catchy and just plain awesome. Speaking of the music, I guess I better mention the piano icon. For a lot of gamers, this stole the show. You can essentially create your own music with a large variety of sounds, some of which are totally weird. Oh my god, that sounds so wrong. Yeah, right. The sky really is the limit here, and I'm amazed at what people can create with this, and there's actually a couple of programs you can get onto your computer that mimics this as well. Online, you can find tons of videos of people recreating current popular songs, and they sound amazing. It really is insane just how much you can find, and equally as great to see just how talented people are. Even though this is fairly simplistic, it can be just as intimidating to use as the animation stuff. What is nice is they've included a few example songs that you can use to help sculpt your music. Even if you're not really into this kind of thing, it's pretty hard not to find yourself lost in Mario Paint. Your only limitations are the ones you put on yourself. Sometimes I wish I could go back in time and just watch my face during certain events in my life. As you get older, that sense of wonder you feel happens less and less, and it becomes easy to take for granted things that once captivated your inner child. It's funny how often I hear from adults my age that kids have no imagination anymore. I think that really depends on what we put in front of them. We have so many gadgets now that do everything for us that most view them as making us mentally lazier. As adults, we get so jaded by all the technical advances and changes we see that we forget sometimes to stop and take a look at what our kids are actually doing. I could be in another room right now, but instead I'm watching my son playing Mario Paint. He's been playing this for a couple of hours now, and he's completely lost in his own creativity. You realize that imagination is still intact. What is he dreaming about putting on that screen? That sense of wonder is all over his face. That's when you stop and discover you have gone back in time. As adults, nothing comes easy anymore, and we have to look so much harder. That magic, that discovery, that time machine, that inner child, it's all right there.